Folks, we are live. Welcome to Gamers Health.
Welcome, welcome,
Welcome,
welcome.
welcome, welcome. I'm trying to see if I should maybe I've got my camera trying to get the camera in the right spot.
Does that camera look, does it look for the faces? Like, is it like
It's focused.
is it like the iPad?
Yeah, it's good. That's the Logitech camera.
Hmm.
So, folks, we didn't have a Gamers Health last week.
No.
We apologize. We were at TotalCon. We had a total amount of fun, a large amount. It was a great time. Uh, Fugly, the dead can't fight back. This is not a D&D trope. No, it isn't. No, it isn't, Fug.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'll set it up for later. Hey Kim, there have been on social media. I thought it was only on Facebook and only a few groups on Facebook, but it's also been on Reddit. It's been on the forums for D&D Beyond, where people have been taken to throwing the recently deceased under the bus. Not a very pleasant thing to do. So we're going to address some of that, and I think this is the apropos time to do it. Our dog is barking, which means one of two things. Well, one of my parents are on the way up, or there's a cat causing trouble in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm crossing fingers that it's a cat causing trouble in the hallway. But you never know. You never know. So, TotalCon again was last weekend. We were there with Don and Tom and their spouses. It was a Edward Jonas. Yes, rest in peace to Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and one thing that I will say that was noticed not just by me, but by a large number of attendees, is that the atmosphere was different, just a little lighter. I mean, conversations covered a lot more topics than they would have without people looking over their shoulders, and that was a pleasant change. Um, okay. Thank you so much for the links to printable maps of Greyhawk. Well, that was actually Rob. Rob is the man for that stuff. You've already ordered a flannel blanket with it. Well, yeah, I've got my D&D quilt on the futon,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and of course I have a lot of my NYPD Sergeants Benevolent Association fleece blankets, which I gotta say keep me warm. They look nice. They got the flag. What else do you want?
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Nunzio, yes, Ernie will be missed.
Yeah.
So again, we're gonna delve into that a little bit deeper. But usually, again, like we didn't have an episode last week because honestly, I was exhausted from the drive home. Um, Edward looking over my shoulder because the dog was barking. I said it means one of two things: there's either a cat causing trouble in the hallway, or my parents that live downstairs. One of them has decided to wander up and generally ask for technical help. And when they do it during a live stream, I need like a on air sign and have it like lit up and hanging. My mother would respect it. My father would never see it. I'm just saying he's can be oblivious. So, but neither of us got con crud.
No.
um. Oh yeah, at the con having conversations. At the bar.
Yeah, there's a lot of conversation.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
at the bar, there were conversations going on about current events and topics, even not that people would not have had in years past,
Hmm.
and that was observed by a number of us, and it was pretty interesting. So yeah, the context was generally discussing current events It was you could only discuss current events from one side of the equation in the past. And that was wherever you are, generally speaking. But it was a different atmosphere this year, and everybody was just relaxed. Didn't matter what political side you were on. Everybody, nobody was throwing out judgment based upon people's idle conversation at the hotel bar.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it depends on the convention. You didn't really have that at North Texas, but at the
I
conventions,
think people, though, at conventions are generally more into, the conversation is more that you hear about, I don't know, the monster in the dungeon that they killed and how they
oh
killed
yeah,
it, and
no,
the fire and
we're all talking our good
the
shit,
raising
yeah.
of the dead,
But there
all of
was
that,
so it was actually great.
which is great.
Yeah, Joe the lawyer actually came up for a few hours just to
Mhm.
hang out at the hotel bar and socialize because he already lives in Connecticut, not
Yeah.
too far away. Tom, welcome. And it was interesting because as we're talking at the bar, Alan Hammock, one of the early TSR guys, Ghost Tower of Inverness, uh, walked by, and we've known Alan for a decade since we started going to North Texas.
Mhm.
Just a very nice, approachable gentleman.
Mhm.
And Alan comes over, and I'm talking with Joe next to me, and Alan cocks his head and he goes, "I know that voice, but I don't know that face." I'm like, "Oh, it's Joe the lawyer." Oh, now I finally got a face to it. So now Joe is putting his face to his videos. So
It gave him the encouragement that he needed to feel
yes,
okay about doing that.
yes, David, welcome. So that's one of those you know recent changes, right? I mean that. And by the way, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, which Rachel and I do, I watch more YouTube than
Mhm.
I by far than I watch commercial TV.
That's true. Here too.
um, a lot of channels that weren't showing their faces are now showing their faces. So there must be something about the algorithm that prefers to have a face to the voice, which I find to be interesting. I've been doing that the whole time, but be that as it may.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people still that just their hands. You see,
Yep.
like their hands and like you know whatever they're doing.
Tammy, welcome.
Hi.
Edward, I'm so autistic. I am who I am, no matter where I am. I
Mm-hmm.
have been deeply involved with Democratic Party politics in Brooklyn and tend to talk about my political philosophy with
Cool.
gamers all the time, and
Cool.
that's good. Listen, we sat down, we shared a
We'll listen to
beer,
anybody.
we
Yeah.
uh, it- and that's just it. Not to get derailed, but when you can have conversations, that's when you're having
Yeah, you
success.
might show me something that I didn't see before.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you always have to
when
be able to listen.
yeah, it's when people talk over each other,
Mm-hmm.
which happens often, or people judge each other immediately based upon a single political statement or belief. That's when conversation ends, and that's when community has an issue. Uh, Ulcerid, hadn't heard that Ernie Gygax had passed. Sorry to hear about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, first, for those that wonder about our indoor garden, our peppers are finally ripening. So this will be part of our breakfast tomorrow. I'll cut it up. Got like another, I don't know, dozen and a half peppers coming of different types, but they're all green. They're not ripening yet, and I like them to get
Different size.
different sizes. We like our peppers; they do very well.
Oh, how's the gargantuan doing?
The gargantuan is getting it's gargantuan compared to this, certainly, but yeah, it's growing a little bit. Once it starts turning color, that's when um, I'll pick it and cook it. Uh, Sugar's Keep, welcome. So it's interesting too because at TotalCon you have attendees, you have an OSR contingent, you have a Pathfinder contingent. They play generally organized play in the atrium. It's been shrinking though. You got a 5e contingent, and you got indie games, so it's a lot of overlap, and you have a huge room for board games, which many cons do not have.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is really a great convention, and it's very relaxed, and they don't have an official what do you call it when you dress up? Uh,
Oh, cosplay?
yeah, they don't officially have cosplay,
LARPing? Oh.
cosplay, but you did have people that were cosplaying,
Mm-hmm.
and they had
The Star Wars people?
yeah, the semi-official Star Wars people. Yeah, Pathfinder showed up. Go figure. That was a discussion I had with the con organizers. But yeah, there's Pathfinder people did show up. Go figure. Just yeah, I guess they could find their way to Massachusetts. They couldn't. Philadelphia, it's a scary place. Maybe occasionally.
Wow, it's not quite Philadelphia.
I know it's the Philadelphia area. It's like calling where we are in Queens, New York City. Technically, yes.
No,
I
not
know.
even.
Well,
That would be
Philly's
like
smaller.
calling like Nassau or Suffolk.
All
Philly.
right, I guess.
I mean, not Philly, but New York.
The greater New York area.
Yeah.
But so yeah, actually, listen, Ernie's passing. Ernie's health did come up in conversations occasionally at TotalCon because Ernie's been hospitalized, and the pictures that we were seeing coming.
He was in hospital when we were there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and the pictures that we were seeing from Ernie and from the family wasn't very encouraging.
No.
So, to put things in perspective, I have congestive heart failure. I have chronic kidney disease. These things go along with having diabetes and cancer, radiation, the whole 9 yards. I don't know who was there from.
And he had his own
Pfizer.
cancer history too, and fought it.
Right. So, Ernie was
So that's a lot
hospitalized.
of parallels for you.
Yeah. So Ernie was hospitalized with the heart failure, but he was also getting dialysis. And then
Didn't it become that he wasn't healthy enough to be able to
then he wasn't. They had to stop the
have
dialysis
dialysis?
because
Oh.
his heart wasn't healthy enough. So that to me was a huge warning sign.
Yeah.
And I guess the family took it that way too. Luke flew out Thursday night. He arrived, I believe, in Chicago Friday morning and was on the way when his brother passed.
Mm.
Kim, Tom, and I were there on Tuesday. So, I mean,
Oh, you went to see him?
yeah,
Oh, good.
There are people in the world that are certainly jealous of everything Ernie has had or accomplished. But Ernie did not have an easy life. Okay, Ernie was at a younger age the drinking partner of his father. I've seen that with a friend of mine. It is not a healthy situation to be in. You learn bad habits early on, and just not good. And Ernie, if any of you have ever met Ernie and had an opportunity to speak with Ernie, Ernie was always very open and an open book about his history.
Mm-hmm.
He might color it a little bit to be more entertaining or to put himself in a slightly better light, but he was very open about his history and about the drug use and about drug sales when he came back to Lake Geneva. So he put his body and he put his family through a lot, and he knew it. So Ernie, just like anybody that's watching right now, just like Rach and I, was not a perfect person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of the issue is when we look at people that are, I don't know, internet famous, these are people that we look at fondly as, I I don't know, icons within our hobby, within our community. We expect them to be perfect,
Not human.
not human, right? If you ever spoke to Ernie, Ernie would certainly tell you great tales. And I never ran the game with him. I heard he was a great GM. I'm sure he was because he was a
Yeah, I don't think I
storyteller.
ever met him. I think you.
You don't think you met him?
Yeah, I
You,
think we were at something, and I don't warm to people like crazy fast, so
yes,
I kind of watch, how they act, how they move, before I'll really, be like, oh, hey, what's going on? Let's play together. You know, so um, you know, Eric had been years ago asking me questions about you know, um certain medications that can help people who are trying to work on their addiction and like stop drinking or
right.
yeah.
And the reason,
And so
the reason was because I remember Ernie was on Facebook and
mhm,
Ernie was talking about that he had been hospitalized, and at the
yeah.
time, Benoit
Hmm.
was on the phone with Ernie pretty much on a daily basis, and I was often connected with Benoit on social media,
Okay.
and there was an issue because uh, Ernie's uh, uh, drug insurance, his pharmacy insurance, wasn't going to cover the
I
medications.
okay, that was it.
They weren't going to cover the
And so like
medications that his doctors
yeah.
were
So
focused on.
so Eric and I talked about like alternatives and things since I worked in that field for many years. And so, Eric was sort of like, oh, that's the guy that I was, asking about. That's the person that your information,
Right,
helped, you know.
and it did.
And I was like, oh, that's so great, and like 'cause I saw him there with, his wife and his dog, and you know,
Yeah.
so he was showing me, and yeah.
So what happened was, this is probably I date wise, probably I was probably back in probably 2014. 2016, I go to my first Gary Con and I actually meet Ernie. And if you've ever seen Ernie at a convention, um, he's always surrounded by people, but it
Yes.
isn't like Satine Phoenix being surrounded by people where
No,
these
it just
people,
looked like a pretty open kind of thing. And,
yes,
he was just always like, he looked like he was always happy to see people. And,
he
you know,
was a social butterfly, but he came. I was working a Frog God booth, and he came over to me and he said, "Listen, Tenkar, you have a." I go, "Well, yeah." I goes, "Oh, I goes, I want to show you something." We walked down like the main hallway, like far to the end, with him and his dog, and got out of sight of the main crowds and just sat beside. And he was like, "Listen, I wanted to thank you for your recommendations for the medications. They helped. I was able to get, I'm able to afford them. They were good. My doctors are happy with it." I was like,
mm,
"Excellent." And then he showed me he was looking for me because he had the bank statements of the Memorial Tomb. Now, Memorial Tomb was a Kickstarter that was long in the tooth back in 2016, and
mm,
it looked like it wasn't going to be coming anywhere, but the monies were still there. The joke in the industry is always the monies were spent on hookers and blow. Well,
oh,
it wasn't spent on hookers and blow. The money was accounted for. And that's the reason why years later, Troll Lord Games was able to save that project.
oh, mm,
Uh, yeah, also, Red, so sorry to hear of Ernie's and your own health challenges. As an aside, I've attended many a TotalCon, including a run through of Ghost Tower with Alan Hammock. Yeah,
mm,
Alan is a pisser. I bought him a Guinness because I had to. I was like, Alan, I've known you for a decade. I don't think I've ever bought you a drink. Because he's always the social butterfly, always moving from person to person. Everybody's grabbing him and pulling him away. Alan never stays still. He's always in motion. I had him stuck next to me for about
yeah.
a couple of. I was like, I'm buying you the next drink. So, Edward, you said you only go to cons that you drive to. Do you drive to Gary Con? I flew to Gary Con. By the way, if you haven't gone to Gary Con is a
We went
bucket
there
list.
what, like 3 years?
Yeah,
You went 3, I went 2.
yeah, we went 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019.
Oh, isn't that many? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went 2016 solo
Mm.
because I found out last minute that I was
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
I had a room.
Mm.
And here's the thing: I think my first 2 years.
Mhm.
How many times did we rent the car? Once or twice?
Twice then.
Okay, my first 2 years, I took Uber from the airport in Milwaukee, and getting an Uber from the airport is not a problem. Getting an Uber from Lake Geneva to the airport in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's why we
You
decided we
keep on
have
rolling
to.
and trying to get that critical. You're trying to get that 20. You're like, oh my God, I got to keep on rolling. No, I'm probably never going to be going back to GaryCon. Game holes really iffy whether we're going to go back because I got to fly to those. We're probably going to drive to WizardCon in April. It's going to be a 2-day drive for us, most likely. But I think the game plan is we're going to drive. North Texas, we fly to. I will fly to one con. That will be in North Texas, and I will spoil us when we go. But otherwise, I try to keep myself within drivable distance because it makes everything so much easier, so much simpler. Roger, driving to Gary Con seems awful from New York. It's like a 14-hour drive for me. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, Raj. Yeah, that's. I think the Greyhawk Grognard. I think Joe Block drives it. I know he's driven to North Texas, and that's
That's
insane,
crazy.
insane. But if you're
Mm.
going as a vendor,
I guess you kind of have
you
to.
often have to drive. Kim, the siblings are having a casual get together tomorrow afternoon
Oh,
that
good.
a bunch of us are attending to share stories
Good.
and game. Yeah, I think I saw a post on that. Kim, isn't that at a local game store out in the Lake Geneva area? I mean, God bless. I mean that's how
That's what's supposed to be happening.
right. If you are someone like Ernie, that's
That's what he
how
would have wanted. Yeah.
right. You know, that's how you want people to remember you. Roll some dice, tell some stories. You know, because listen, you live once, you die once.
Hmm.
You know, and everybody's gonna pass at some time.
Yep. And
Uh,
shit, we all gotta die of something.
yeah.
So how is of no
Van
import?
Vanishing Tower Press. Um, let's see, driving the 3.5 hours to Denver for my local con just crushes me. It takes a week to get back
Oh
in the top
wow.
physical shape. Wow. Um, yeah, I can do like the conventions that we go to. Total cons 3.5 to 4 hours. Page is 3.5 to 4. We were thinking about possibly going to FaceCon later on this month in Baltimore. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's about a 4.5 hour drive for an overnight con. And we have issues with our Datsun. So just a little side note before we delve deeper into the Ernie stuff. Our Datsun was avoiding stairs for a bit, and then 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
yeah, 2 weeks, no, maybe longer, maybe 3 weeks
Three
ago.
weeks ago now.
Yeah, all right, 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it was before the con. She had like a limp. She was holding her
She
one.
was raising her back right paw,
Yeah,
and so it we took her to the vet. It got better with like NSAIDs medicine and stuff like that, and some gabapentin, and she seemed to feel a lot better, which made it so that we felt comfortable to go to the con.
but then
And
Linda was like,
then,
"She doesn't look right," and I thought she was depressed because we're gone, but
mhm.
no, she was in
But what
pain.
it is, she didn't have the medication anymore, and she was in pain, and so we brought her to the vet, and so they gave us a steroid, more gabapentin, and now a referral to a doggy neurologist, so that we can try to get her an MRI. because when the doctor was palpating her spine, there was a certain place at the spine where she cried, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then had a lot of pain, and then um she also had like kind of delayed reaction time in her back paws, so she was thinking that the inflammation
Mm.
in the spine was creating a blockage, in the spinal cord to for the back limbs to
So
respond.
we're waiting on that one. So
Yeah.
so that's another reason why I'm like, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
An unnecessary trip. Our next con should be in April. But all right, I'm gonna catch up on
Oh, thank you.
some of these comments here.
Hmm.
Um, Edward Jonas, you missed EggCon 1. It was a nice fledgling convention by Heidi and Eric. Yeah,
Oh, that sounds
I
really
listen. We spoke
nice.
with Heidi at Page, Heidi and Eric. But the reality is,
And it sounds like it's in a really beautiful place in
yeah,
summertime.
and that's great. But Lake Geneva is not an easy place to get to.
Whether it's winter or summer.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and flying and having renting a car is, uh, you know, eh. Kim at the bottle shop. Donna will have a celebration later.
Okay.
Edward's a 14-hour drive from New York City, but strangely, pretty much a straight shot via the interstate and turn right at Chicago. Uh, Also, Red, I attended the 2017 Gary Con. Cool scene. Luke was watching the long queue of gamers before the opening gun with a satisfied, smug look on his face. Again, if you haven't been to Gary Con, it is a sight to see. It's getting to the point. It got to the point for me in 2019 where I was saying I'm probably not going to go back because the crowds were getting too much. And I'm a New Yorker who's taken the subways when we had real subway crowds.
Yeah, but that spa is so
Rach love Rach
wonderful.
loves the spa.
So nice. And like, like there were locals in there, but like nobody from like really the hotels from the con. So it's kind of funny to like go over there and they'd be like, oh, there's something going on with that game thing.
Fooply, I spent a decade within 90 minutes of a half dozen cons. Now,
Mm.
nothing. Edward, mom's pup had spine. Sorry, Edward Jonas. Mom's pup had spine issues
Hmm.
as well.
Mm.
Kim, gabapentin is a good doggy drug.
Yes.
We swear
It's
by it.
wonderful for people too. Like it's just it's sort of like it's almost like a wonder drug because they use it for so many different things. Like we used to use it in the detox too to help quell some of the withdrawal symptoms that people had. So like
Yep.
it had so many different uses, like anxiety and pain and sleep and
Yep.
yeah.
So gabapentin is a good doggy drug. This is Kim. Yes.
Hmm.
Yep. Had Dotson's. They many times get spinal stenosis. I hope things go
Yeah.
well for her.
Thank you.
Edward Kopp, 11 and a half hours to Kalamazoo. Yeah, I know. I read it out too.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to speed, but I'll probably make it about 10 and a half. But it's still going to be not going to be a single day.
No.
No. 7.5 hours to Akron. Good spot to stop for the night.
Akron.
Yeah. Yeah. Kim, Laugh Out Loud Rage Go Spa. Roger, I went to GaryCon last year with the flight, car, and hotel. It was a big expense. I'm glad I went, but I don't need to go back for a few years at least. See, not including all the money I spent on Prince. Yeah. So
If we do go back, can we go to AgCon?
all right. So when
So we're not freezing out there.
So when we went to GaryCon, we were going on partially on the dime of the Frog God. We were running the table for Frog God. I was also running games, and our hotel room and our meals were covered by frogs, which was awesome. But that's no longer the case. Frog God
Mm.
doesn't have an actual presence at most conventions anymore, and it's cost prohibitive to be at all these cons, especially if you're going to fly. So I will
Mm.
again. That's why I will fly to one, but the rest I'm going to be driving to. 4 hours from Akron to Kalamazoo. Okay, that could work. Going out there, I could see myself doing that.
Mhm.
You know, so yeah, it's gonna the con season. This is a good year for conventions, and for Rach and I, we used to have the triple, the North Texas Game Hall, Gary Con, and then we added Total Con in
Yeah.
and Shire Con.
Shire Khan has always been.
Shire Con's been for the last, I don't know, almost a decade, maybe. And now we're gonna have Central New York Con also in June. Looking forward to that. Wizard Con in April. So yeah, no,
Mhm.
this is just
And
yes.
we have more cons that are closed still, like
Yeah,
Phoenix Rising and
yeah.
um there's another one, but I can't remember.
Oh, there's one out in Long Island that Joe Block is a
Oh
special guest
yes,
at.
there's one that's in the first weekend of April.
Yes, it's one that
In
is
the Aviation
in
Museum.
the Aviation Museum out in Nassau County,
Mhm.
and I got to look into that. A lot of the old guard are no longer going to GaryCon because the last 2 years, a lot of them have gotten pretty sick with COVID, flu.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Ken.
they're more at risk. Sure.
Con crud is a thing, and when we say
Hmm.
con crud, it can be anything,
Yeah.
anything that. And listen, here's a little secret. I'm retired now. But you're 57, but you're retired. Yeah, I've been retired for oh my god, it's gonna be 9 years. But here's the dirty little secret. It means I'm also not being exposed to germs constantly, like I was when I was working around other
Hmm.
people, or when I was working with the public.
So we should consider ourselves lucky
That we didn't get
that
anything at
that you
TotalCon.
yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I mean, my congestive heart failure, but
Yeah, that was
that whole thing
scary.
got in 2020, right before the plague hit. I came down with what we thought was upper respiratory infection, but apparently it was a bit more than that going on, and it was missed. So that upper respiratory turned into pneumonia, turned into sepsis, turned into presumed COVID when I didn't have COVID, but also kicked off my heart failure. So it, and as it was explained to me in my case, it was just a ticking time bomb. And if I hadn't had it kicked off by an illness, it may have just been me not waking up one morning. So the
Yeah.
best thing that happened to me was TotalCon 2020.
Hmm.
So it's TotalCon 2020 saved my life. They should probably make advertisements saying that. Or there are people who be
Total
going,
con saves lives.
TotalCon saves lives. And then you're going to have people going, oh, damn it. You mean we could have been done with that with Tenkar if it wasn't for TotalCon? Damn that meddling con.
But those ones don't count.
No, they don't. So Edward Kopp, he goes, I might be at the LA convention in April running events.
Oh, awesome.
Uh, 2 hours from Akron to Columbus, which is a 20K con with a small con feel. Well, which
Mm.
one is that? Is that's not Con on the Cobb, is it? I've heard of Con on the Cobb. I think
Is that
that.
in Ohio?
Yeah, I think that's one where like they have like gaming around the pool. You got to make sure you don't like inadvertently step into the pool. I I don't know. I've
Oh,
never been there. I've just
sounds
heard.
fun.
Uh, also read. So if Gary Con has become too expensive and crowded, what small cons do you recommend? All right. North Texas tops out at 500 people. It's early June in the Dallas Fort Worth area. So yes, you're gonna sweat your nuts off. I'm just telling you
But at
up
least you're
front.
not freezing.
But at least you're not freezing, and the hotel shuttle will take you from the
Right.
airport.
There's no shortage of
Yeah,
like how do you call it?
transport.
The shuttle bus.
Yeah, the hotel shuttle is
Mhm.
really good, and or you get a cab. But I mean, you're not going to be stuck in the middle of nowhere like you are with
I mean, Madison is great. Like
Madison is good.
it's a nice little town, and the hotel there has the one that we were staying has like a shuttle that will take you anywhere
Mhm.
within 3 miles of the location. So that's how I got to yoga classes and stuff like that when I was visiting. So I was like,
Uh,
yes, shut up.
Page in the Philadelphia area is in January. Page, we missed last year's. We went to this year's. It was a beautiful con. I think he hit around 1,300 people. Don't
Mhm.
quote me. I don't know if I got official numbers from the con yet. Total con I think had 1,200 people this year, maybe 13.
Okay.
Um, let's see. ShireCon, if you're in the Northeast,
That's one that's very
it's
it's very small and it's a little more desolate.
about
It's
140, 150 people. The venue is a VFW, so you're gonna have to get yourself like a bed and breakfast or something similar. But it
but it's
is,
lovely up there.
oh my god. And here's the thing too. When you get to a convention of a certain size, you kind of lose the family reunion feel of it. Okay. I go to North Texas. I've been going since 2014. Only missed the year of the plague. And every time you go back, it feels like you're with family again.
Oh, sure.
It might be family that annoys you, but they're your family.
Well, everybody looks for one another, so
Yes. TotalCon is similar.
and that's like North Texas is really special, and some of the other cons too, um, especially if like the wives go, um, people, you know, kind of the wives connect or like spouses connect, um, um, to do things like go to lunch or North Texas is special in the way that Jennifer Green does like a gaming session on Sundays.
All right, so this was just sent to me on Discord, but it is a nice pencil drawing. I guess it's pencil, maybe it's charcoal, of Ernie and his wife.
Oh.
So, all right. So now we're going to delve into a little bit of the actual topic, which was brought up because of Ernie.
Yes.
Okay, because and I don't want anybody going because there's going to be somebody watch this video going, but Ten Car doesn't like Ernie. Listen, I certainly had my own personal issues with Ernie for various reasons, but you know what? When somebody passes, that is like a sacred time because it isn't about the person that passed, right? When somebody dies, the person that passed has gone on to whatever we have waiting
They're
for us.
good.
They're good.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the family, it's the spouses, the children, the siblings, the parents that have to go through all this. And do they want to, and God forbid in this day of social media, do you want to turn on your social media and see some jackass knucklehead piece of shit crapping all over your brother? I mean,
Yeah, because he waited until then to like say how he really feels.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like there's a group on Facebook where the admin decided to literally defecate on Ernie's memory. Yet Ernie was a member of the group in good standing and was one of the top posters. Didn't say anything until Ernie died, and then it was like, oh, well, he was a piece of shit.
Like,
What the fuck?
what was the complaint that the person had about?
Oh,
Ernie?
that Ernie was a racist and the
Oh,
feeling,
really?
yeah.
That was news.
But not only that,
I mean, not to say like, oh yeah, he's totally racist, but like,
that's
there was talk about that. There were people that,
and I'll be honest with you,
had put that out there, but this person that was making the posts, I wouldn't have a
didn't have a problem.
I have a problem with this person because they couldn't tell Ernie about the error of his thinking when he was alive.
No, because
To be able to impact some kind of change.
right.
Like here, you're aligning with these ones and those ones, and I don't feel that, that's compatible with this community, and I don't feel comfortable to have you posting in here. Like that would have been something different, because it would have opened a dialogue for Arnie to be able to change his behavior and have some reflection about what he was doing, and maybe change it, or maybe not change it, and that's okay too. But to have a problem with it now that he's passed away is
right,
a
because
little.
it's like Ernie's no longer a benefit to you.
Yeah.
I as long as
he
he's
served
something that
his
was,
purpose, I guess.
which is what
That's
really,
really stinks.
which is really shitty. Okay,
Yeah.
because Ernie's passed on. Ernie's in a better place.
But you had your things with Ernie, and you said what you felt.
And I said at the time, and when Ernie got hospitalized, I wished him well, because I don't wish it on anybody.
Because yes, you have similar situation.
I had 3 weeks of hospitalization
Yes.
for heart failure, where you know what it's like to go, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be waking up for this next procedure. Shit, that sucks.
Yeah.
You can't, you know what? These people, it is to their advantage to shit on Ernie because he is deceased, because he can't strike back. He can't respond. He can't explain himself. And honestly, Ernie's greatest fault is that he often spoke before thinking.
Yes.
He was, in my experience,
that goes along with his personality.
Yeah, he was impulsive.
Okay.
And you know what? If you were a friend of Ernie, I'm sure you accepted that as part of him.
Yes.
He went, all right, this is just how Ernie is, and Ernie's going to say something.
But the thing is like, people are a work in progress.
Yes.
I'm happy that I was able to give information to you to be able to get to him, to help him along his journey,
Mm-hmm.
And he was still battling, and on that journey, it doesn't just stop, you know.
We are all flawed people.
Yes.
I'm going to catch up in the comments real quick.
Yeah,
Kim, people can be extremely cruel. Ernie was just human.
Yes.
With flaws, but always, always welcomed anyone to his table, and even at their house.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing that happened to Ernie, by the way, is finding the right woman in his life.
Yes.
She completed him.
Aww.
She made him whole. I'm getting overclamped because I know
what that's like.
So, Fukley, we all need to be open to educated change, but not so many are. Oh, so many are not.
Yeah.
Eric H. Ernie was clearly a flawed human.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone can't let it go in death, it seems the problem may be more with them than him. Exactly.
Yes.
But here's the thing. They didn't have a problem when he was living, because he was useful when he was living. Made their community look better, because Ernie's posting in it. Look, come join my community of ancient assholes assholes and prognosticators, because we have Ernie as a group member and he posts. Oh, Ernie's dead? We're gonna shit on him now. You know what? Anybody that does that crap, anybody that pulls that shit is a worthless human being. But that's what they think is the internet brings out the best of us, brings out the worst of us. Yeah. Kim, yes, that's correct. But at his core, he was a good person.
Yes.
I don't think Ernie had hate in his heart for anybody. And I'll be honest with you. As somebody who's been wronged by Ernie and people he associated with, I never thought that Ernie was doing it because it was malice. I just thought it was Ernie was doing it because
he needed to sort what was good for Ernie.
Right.
You know? That's where his thinking might have been.
Right. There was no ill intent.
Yeah.
I never took it that way. And I mourn his death. Because honestly, this is someone who could only have a better life going forward. And he was having a better life.
Because it was getting better for him as the years went by.
Yes.
Yes.
Ultra, you were kind to Ernie a couple of years back when he was hospitalized, and I don't know Ernie well enough to say he was racist. I think I saw one
Yeah.
off-color comment from him. That was an interview that he did, which honestly, Ernie went off script, and what he said is not what I think he meant to say.
Right.
I don't think he thought he was saying it in the way that it was being heard.
Oh.
But that happens, and especially when again somebody who is essentially impulsive and is not thinking before they speak and wonders how is this going to sound. Having been in political positions,
Right.
I
And maybe
often think
not
about it.
and maybe not always checking out, people that he aligned with,
Yep.
Because I think that created a lot of trouble for him too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kim, yes, Donna is a goddess, and she was the best thing that ever happened to him. It showed in his smile. She was his light.
Oh.
David Thompson, good night. I know it's late over there in the UK.
Yeah.
Fugly, ancient assholes and prognosticators, both of those have been around a very long time on so many levels. Yes. And here's the thing, right? Like, we talk about people on social media, and it's like it's like we used to talk about people with beer muscles at the bar, right? Beer muscles at the bar. The guy's talking shit because he's got 6 pints in him, and he thinks he can take on the world. Well, right now, you give some assholes a keyboard, you may as well have a bottle of scotch in them, because they're on the other side of the screen. You can't do anything to me. I can say what I want, and honestly, they're saying it now because Ernie has passed, because they know if they said it when he was alive, a lot more people would have come to defend Ernie right away. And there are people coming to defend Ernie now.
Well, that
and they should.
Yes, that, and it's also like if you really had a problem with what you thought his views were, and you didn't say anything to him when he was alive, you didn't have that big of a problem with it. You weren't that worried about it.
Yep.
The benefit outweighed the deficit, or the benefit outweighed the cost.
Yeah.
Cost. Yeah.
Wonky, welcome. Edward Kopp, being drunk and drug addled often allows the mouth to run without a governor.
Yeah.
And the keyboard warriors, it's the same shit.
This is their drug, huh?
This is their drug. Yeah, I don't.
This is their drug of choice, the keyboard.
Because here's the thing: when you're at the local pub, all right, and you've had 2 or 3 drinks, you're sober enough. You still have that regulator going on, a governor, and you're going, maybe I shouldn't say X, Y, Z, because if I do, somebody's gonna give me 1 or 2 black eyes and throw me out the fucking pub. But the more I drink, the more obnoxious I get. Well, you know what? You give some people a keyboard and they turn into that right away. One of the reasons why I am happy to do these videos with my face and let you see me is so I'm accountable. All right. I'm not gonna, if I say something stupid and shitty, somebody's gonna find me at a convention and say, "Do you remember when?" I better be able to eat crow. But anonymous individuals on the other side of the keyboard that you don't know on social media who hide behind, sometimes not even their real names, that don't show up in public. It pisses me off. It really pisses me off.
And it's really bad because it's like, how come? It's always, you have to always ask people, like, why now? Like, why now are you engaging this behavior?
Right.
Why now has your thoughts changed?
Well, there's a benefit. They feel there's a benefit.
What is that? Is that
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the thing. Kim says you're spot on.
Oh, thank you.
Another benefit of Edward Kopp, another benefit of ASD, I am exactly online as I am in person, as you can attest. The wonky. I've always found how accountable you are for your own words to be very respectable. Hard to come by nowadays. Well, I had to be responsible for my own words when I was a sergeant in a very political position. You learn that
Yes.
words have consequences. Okay, and I don't script any of these videos. I never do. Even the ones that are recorded aren't scripted. So the odds of me saying some stupid shit,
Are
oh,
quite high.
and that's my wife speaking, folks. That's my wife speaking.
The same.
But the reason why they are shitting on Ernie now is they think that they are signaling to their tribe,
They're too late for any kind of social justice points.
but that does no.
Sorry.
That's what they're doing, and I'll be honest with
And
you.
that's not social justice if you can't be real with people. If you can't be real with somebody who you felt, had some kind of impact
Mhm.
that you didn't want on your community, you know, it's an honorable act to be able to tell the person about themselves, um, and make a stance then. But like, I don't know. The horse is already out of the stable.
And that's the
And
whole thing.
say
But
you're gonna shut the door now. Okay.
well, apparently the one group is like, well, this way we can. Anybody that's supporting Ernie has to be a fascist, and we can boot him from the group. I
Please.
mean, the stupidity is large in this shit. And if you knew Ernie, if you've met Ernie for longer than 2 minutes, you probably go, I couldn't judge his or guess his politics for
Yeah,
the life
it's
of
like
me.
no, they don't care about anybody. They care
Like
about
I
like
don't, I don't,
their
I don't know what
whatever.
Ernie's politics are. Couldn't guess it from talking to him. Although if you asked me um, what his favorite setting was, I could tell you right away. It was Greyhawk.
Uh,
AD&D 1E and everything. But you're judging. Again, there are people out there judging Ernie from a comment he made off the cuff on a video that. Listen, was it a stupid comment to make? Certainly. Have we all made stupid comments?
of course.
Definitely. Have we
I
made
don't
it?
think I even remember.
What? Have we made it on the internet on a video? I probably have. Okay, I will say that I probably have. I know I made dumb comments on my blog.
Yeah.
I had to make public apologies on my blog, not because I had the intent to cause anybody distress, but I did. um, so shit like this just really it annoys me because I know that people can be so much better. I know that people can be kind and caring, and at his core, Ernie was certainly a kind, caring man. Just he would get hyper focused on stuff that he didn't need to get hyper focused on, which is a lot of the issues that I had with him. But it doesn't mean that I think he was like an evil person. No, no.
No, he was.
At
He was
worst,
working on it.
yeah. At worst, he was Peter Pan.
Yes.
Okay, and I've said that before publicly, and I'll say that again. At his worst, he was Peter Pan. He um, uh, was still in this teenage maturity level in a lot of ways, not always, but in some ways. And I think that Donna was allowing Ernie, whatever,
Well, there was
allowed
so
him to
many times like
heal and
in a
progress.
yes in a relationship it can be like a holding space where a lot of corrective things can happen for people and a lot of healing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad that was happening for him.
Edward Kopp, I want my close friends to be the ones who point out when I've said something untoward or some faux pas. Step 10 of AA: when you are wrong, promptly admit it.
Yes,
Amazing how integrity works.
too right. That's it.
Yeah.
Integrity.
Kim, he was a passionate person, which has its pluses and his minuses.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. If you ever spoke with Ernie, face to face, there was passion in just having a conversation with Ernie. He was animated. And I can only imagine how frustrated he was in the hospital. He couldn't wait to get out of the hospital. And he was talking about getting out of the hospital. And there were plans for Ernie to get out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And then those plans weren't going to happen. And we have only as much control as we have. We do Gamers Health because Rich and I talk about our own health challenges, our own emotional challenges with our family
Mhm.
pets and
Yeah,
family
just our
members, and
lives
just
and
our lives in
recoveries
general.
from our medical issues
Yeah,
and different things like that. Yeah.
we all have, as they say, our cross to bear.
Yeah.
Okay, but that cross is a lot easier to bear when others are walking that path with you and you're not
Yes.
walking it alone. And part of the reason why we do these live streams every week, and again, I apologize for not for missing it last week. I actually napped for like 4 hours after we got home. But the reason why we do this, and it's important to us, because we have each other for our own crosses, and we understand that not everybody is in that situation, but you should
Right. We're very
know
lucky.
that others are bearing crosses,
Hmm.
and we will spend time with you and help you understand that you are not alone on this path, even if you feel you are. And again, I Ernie was blessed that he had Donna.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't imagine what it would have been like to going through what he was going through without
Yeah.
Donna at her side. And that's why I'm even more pissed off at these fucking jack nuggets who are pulling this shit. The man's not even buried yet. They haven't even had any kind of a memorial
No.
yet. And they're shitting on him in his memory as the family is grieving. There is no hell hot enough for assholes like that. Honestly.
Mm.
Um, Edward, let's get together before WizardCon to talk about a gamer cookbook.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
Love that.
Kim, he was extremely positive all the way up to this past week.
Yeah.
They continued hope for so long, and I believe that
Yeah.
is why he lived such
He
serious
always held
disease.
out. Yeah. He always held out the hope.
You know
When he
that.
would post those things up on the
Oh
Facebook.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there were some things that Ernie was posting that I would read just from my own personal experience and seeing where Ernie was, and I would go, he's posting that for his family, because,
Yeah.
or maybe he needs to believe, because I could see
Yeah.
where it was going,
Yeah.
and again, it's not the end. I was talking with Bad Mike of North Texas, and as Bad Mike was putting it, this is not the way this chapter, this book should have ended.
Hmm.
You know, everybody wants to see, you know, the full voyage. Like Ernie was on the path that he probably wishes he would on 30 or 40 years ago. You know, I wish I had met Rach younger in life. I had more
Yeah,
time
of
with her.
course.
And I'm sure that Ernie has or had similar thoughts
Sure.
about Donna. But at the same time, you are who you are because of your life experiences. And maybe if Rach met me when I was a young asshole in my 20s.
Yeah, and we
Uh,
might not
she,
have been ready
she would have
then.
been like, I don't want this piece of shit. What's this on my shoe? Get away from me. So again, I am very glad they had that time together.
Yeah.
We are not cooking gamers, Fugly. It's not like the episode of was not Outer Limits, the other one.
Which one is that?
Oh my
I
god.
don't know what Outer Limits is.
You don't know, you don't know what Outer Limits is?
No,
Uh
I don't know.
we control the TV set. We control the volume. We control
Mm,
Twilight Zone. There we go.
Twilight Zone. Okay, that I
There was
remember.
a Twilight Zone episode where Serving Man was actually a cookbook.
Oh
The
wow.
aliens had a book that They said, "Oh, we have a book. So we're serving man," and they were taking all the humans to their planet
Nice to cook them up.
Well, then everybody thought they were. Oh, well, we're here to serve man, and it's like it's a cookbook. Yeah, you can serve man with potatoes. You can serve man
As a sandwich.
as a sandwich. Yeah, Twilight Zone. Thank you, Tom and Edward Jones. Appreciate it. Yeah. I get listen at my old age, Foogly. I get them both confused. You should be happy. I can even get onto the right direction sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't even see the Twilight Zone until I met you and your parents.
And it's like, Rach, you got to enjoy the Twilight Zone marathon. And then Rach was like, "Oh my God, somebody shoot me."
I was like, "Oh, this shit's black and white."
And then and then Rach was like, "Oh wait, I married a cop. I shouldn't say that." Edward Cop, it could be. I can break down a 200-pound hog in 30 minutes. What do you think I can do with the human body? I don't want to think about it, man. Don't want to think about it. Trigger's Keep, Outer Limits. Yes, no, Outer Limits, the Twilight Zone. And then you had what? Oh God, in the late 80s, early 90s, Amazing Stories. Which, by the way, was published by TSR for a while, I think. Throwing out the wackiness out there. So, listen, if you see these assholes out there, they're attacking Ernie, or this happen. Listen, he's not the only one. Okay, this is going to happen. I'm not going to name any names because I want all these gentlemen to be living nice, long lives. But when others in the first generation of creative gamers start to continue passing, because they're all getting older, they're going to come out of the woodwork within hours to throw these individuals' memories under the bus. None of them are perfect. We know that. You may have personal issues with one or two of them. That's fine. Give the family time to grieve. Let the family heal before you throw salt in the wounds. It's just common decency. And I know it's sad that.
And they just look like scum.
They do.
Like, how does anybody in that community trust that? Like, you have to have your own idea of it's all sort of right and wrong, and it's
well, it was good to use him while he was alive, but now that he's dead, now I got to get my social media cred. I got to get my I got to signal. I got to signal that
is so worthless and stupid.
Well, you know what? They are worthless and stupid. So it
works.
It really does fit.
Worthless and stupid is as worthless and stupid does.
Yeah. So, folks, next week we'll be back on Saturday. Yeah. Next live stream.
Yes, next week we'll teach the topic.
Yes.
We had a viewer who was interested in learning more about anxiety and medical marijuana
and depression
and maybe
stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. You were telling me.
Yeah, actually, I don't have my Discord opened up on the screen here, and of course, there we go. Here, I'll open it up here real quick. My Discord, and then I can tell you exactly what the question was because I think it's a good one.
Yeah, it sounded like the use of medical marijuana to address certain psychiatric issues, whether they be anxiety or if there was more to it.
Do you think medicinal cannabis is a viable treatment for mental health issues such as anxiety, PTSD, depression? It is prescribed for those reasons now in the UK as of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So we will listen.
We're just going to put together a show that's based around that question.
Yeah.
And you guys will be able to kind of decide for yourselves and, take into account like your own family histories and your own questions about these things and, come to a conclusion for what might be right for you.
Yeah. Also, by the way, he goes, I was looking through the blog while listening. and I went ahead and ordered Delving Deeper on Dead Tree. I'm allergic to PDFs. Delving Deeper is a very good clone of White Box. It is. If you want to, if you want to play something very close to the original White Box that is very approachable, Delving Deeper is certainly it. Um, so, folks, there are now shorts on this channel, by the way. So there'll be like shorts probably from this live stream.
Uh-oh.
So we may be able to get us more viewers, but we're working on it. Um, oh, Edward Kopp says I have a fair amount to contribute to a cannabis user, chef, and PTSD anxiety disabled veteran.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I'll reach out to you during the week, Ed. All right, folks. Next live stream is Wednesday. Other than that, thank you all. Your viewership, your participation, your comments. That is the currency that Rach and I thrive on. Really, it makes these things. We look forward to it throughout the week. We're always bouncing ideas off us, but your ideas are awesome too. So feel free to hit us up. You can email 10cars.tavern@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Facebook. You can Twitter me. You can Discord me. You know the thing. Yeah, look for 10car. I'm sure you'll find me. Yes, Outer Limits. We are in control of your TV set. All right, folks. Thank you for spending your evening with us.
Thank you so much. And